All right. Welcome to the Strong Side podcast. I'm Mitchell Black. I'm your host, and today we're going to be doing episode 3, and we're going to be talking about scaling. We're going to be talking about the workout objectives. How do we at StrongSide make workouts? How are our workouts purposeful? And how should you best attack the workouts that we're trying to get done so you can optimize your results? I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? So what we want to do today is I'm here with Coach Matt. He's our head coach of StrongSide, and we want to break down workouts. Not every workout individually, but the overall goal of workouts so you can capitalize on it and you can get all the results that you want. Hey, so Matt, you ready?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So before we lead into this, so I know I introduce Matt a lot, and I know that we talk about Matt a lot, but to give you some validation on what we're about to talk about. So Matt is our head coach here. And what Matt's job is he trains all of our coaches so they can deliver the proper product and service to all of our members. And he does all of our programming and all of our training. Now, me and him might go back and forth on some ideas, but that is his main role. And when you understand that, you understand that the workouts are made with intention, and you understand that the workouts are done for the people that we see every day and what we're trying to get you to. So Matt is collecting data on what you log in Wodify. He's coaching or taking or observing the classes. He's getting feedback from our coaches so we can say, hey, look, this is what we're struggling with. This is where we're at. You know, we have on average, let's say 17 people in class, and only 30% had to scale the workout, or on average, we're seeing this many people talking about injuries or discomfort. You know, that's really what he does. And his whole job is to make sure that all of our coaches can hear you and observe you and work with you, and that we're providing workouts that allow you to reach your goals. And I know that workout seems like a jargon term, but that's a pretty big deal considering we're a gym. So I want to lead into that with Matt. So before we talk about anything, is there anything on your mind that you want to talk about, Mr. Matt?
Just know that, like, when you guys look at what's on the whiteboard every day, that is carefully thought out. That is every week that something gets set out to all the coaches that talks about the stimuluses of the workout, which is the point of this podcast, and a goal for that that workout. So that's gone over way before it's even written on the whiteboard. It's not just a random number we're throwing out. These workouts are tested. They're thought out, and they're made with you guys in mind. That's it.
That's legit, dude. That makes me excited. I can't wait to take the next class. But so that's what we really want to talk about. So remember with this podcast, I know we're only 3 episodes in, but we are making these podcasts with, hey, look, if hundreds of thousands of people all around the world want to listen to it, I think that's fantastic. And please, give it a 5-star review. But we are right now intentionally making these for our members. And how can we best communicate with you, and what's the best way that you would like to consume content or information with your busy lives? So all of these topics are going to be centered around what we feel like is best for the gym. All right, so the first thing we want to talk about is workout stimulus, okay? This is not going to be an exercise science or exercise physiology class, but we want to make sure that you understand that all workouts have stimulus. So I'm going to go over what a stimulus is. Matt's going to touch on it. Then I'm going to share a story. Then he's going to share a story, and then we're going to roll into some other stuff, all right? So the stimulus of a workout is really the workout objective. So what that means is if you were to do, one workout that had pull-ups, that would be way different than a workout that had a 1-rep max back squat. Like, clearly those are 2 different things, right? So if all workouts, in our general term, are made with different objectives, they should have different stimuluses. And what we're trying to do is make you generally good at everything. We're not trying to make you dominate one thing where you're really strong, but you can't run 400 meters, or you can run a marathon, but you can't do a pull-up. Like, those are kind of extreme, but we're trying to make you generally good at everything. So all workouts have different stimuluses, and different stimuluses produce your result. If you can live in the stimulus, you're going to get your result. You want to elaborate on that?
So with stimuluses, like Mitchell, I think I stole something from you one day. Is you're like, this is intense, but it's not an intense experience. And yeah, you say that, and then I'm like, wow, he's right. So intensity breeds results. But do we want you to leave here every day being like, wow, I just got beat up by that workout? No, that's not the goal of a workout. But it's going to be intense because that's how you get your results. Some of the workouts we'll reference today, like Fran, that's an intense workout. That's a sprint. It should be a sprint. And that's what we're going to cover a little bit later on. So, yeah.
So you kind of get the idea, right? Like different workouts, different stimuluses, or different objectives of what you want to do. So now I'm going to share a story, and then Matt's going to share a story. My story is really just about helping you understand stimulus. All right. So we know that you don't even, like I said, this is not an exercise science class, but we know that work gets you your result. You can have all the science, all the heart rate monitors, all the tracking that you want, and it's fine, and it definitely has some value. But if you can't do work, then you're definitely not going to get to your goal. It doesn't matter how many heart rate monitors you're wearing. If you never progress your run to be able to run a mile without stopping, no amount of Garmin heart rate monitor is going to help you out, bro. So we're looking at work, right? And that's where that phrase that I use, intensity versus an intense experience, comes into play. Because I'll just give you an example on heart rate training. I'm not saying heart rate training's the devil. I'm not here to argue that. I'm just going to give you a blanket statement kind of overview. If you measured your fitness only in heart rate, and that's what you did, and you said, hey, if my heart rate gets higher, I am getting fitter. You could also just say, well, what if I pulled out a gun and I started shooting it at your feet? I mean, your heart rate would go up, right? So just because your heart rate goes up, that's not a direct correlate that you actually got fitter. And just because you do really hard things, and just because you're very tired and you sweat, that doesn't actually mean that you got in better shape. What we have to do is look at the work that got done. And I use the term exercise productivity. And in that time frame, what actually got done? How much work were you able to do? How much effort were you able to give? And did you actually give intensity? Did you actually perform the workout as it was prescribed? We use that term RX, whether that's load or whether that's movement, but did you get a lot of it done? Or did you have a very intense experience where when the workout's over, you're extremely tired, maybe even your hands are ripped, there's chalk everywhere. There's no question that you are exhausted, but you had a very intense experience. You actually didn't do a lot of repetitions, didn't run very far. You didn't get much done because you overdid the workout with too much weight or too hard of a gymnastics movement. You want intensity, not an intense experience.
Yep.
So I think Matt has an intense experience story.
I had a very intense experience. So my very, very, very first workout I ever did at a CrossFit gym, the workout's Isabel. We did it about 2 months ago. It's 30 power snatches for time. RX weight for guys is 135. I walked into the gym. That was the workout they were doing. I had never done a power snatch in my life, ever. I've done an overhead squat, never a power snatch, but never 135. This coach literally told me, oh, you look like you work out, do 135. I was like, but I've never done it. He's like, just go for it. You'll be fine. I think it was like 26 and a half minutes later, I was done. The stimulus of the workouts to be done in like under 12.
What's the world record time?
Oh, it's like a minute. It's stupid. And it took me 26. I failed. It took me a minute almost a lift. I failed so many times. It was bad. So yeah, that's my intense experience.
So yeah, let's look at that workout, for example. You don't even have to know what a snatch is. You don't even have to know who Isabel is, whatever. It took Matt 26 and a half minutes to do a workout that I get the world record is a minute, but let's say average time is 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So you quadrupled the average time, right? Forget it. So does it mean the workout was bad or the loading was bad?
It was the loading was bad. So it wasn't safe for me to do 135 at all. Like that's another thing that stimuluses go over is like, we want to keep a workout safe to make sure that you're moving properly. Form's not breaking down. Like my form was horrendous. My back hurt for days after that because I was arching. It was like I was peeing on the ceiling to get these snatches over my head.
And the thing about he's saying like with loading is, our needs vary in degree and not kind. So like what Matt is saying is he's saying, look, everybody needs to do an exercise called a snatch. That is a highly functional multi-joint movement that challenges your neuromuscular system. Like there's a lot of value to it. But the degree in which we all need to snatch, how much weight, how fast, that's what he's saying. Like, do you think you got in better shape doing the workout RX at 135 pounds that first time in 26 minutes? Or do you think you would have gotten in better shape, better blood work, better, fat panels, everything you want by doing 95 pounds?
Oh, for sure. Probably, honestly, even better with an empty barbell that day because I had never snatched in my life.
And then what we could have done is said, hey, this is your first day snatching. Let's do an empty barbell. But instead of 30 reps,
you do like 60 or 45.
Yeah, because you're learning.
Yeah. More reps, more repetitions, empty barbell, work on your form, and just go.
I mean, I feel like that's a lot of our members' first couple of weeks is we're doing moderate loading.
Yep.
Go over to, I know I do that in class. Hey, I know on the board it says 5x5. Here's what I want you to do. I just want you to do 10 squats, take a break.
Yep.
10 squats, take a break.
Yep. That's how you build strength. That's how you build. I always tell people, like, whenever you're doing any sort of weightlifting, work on form, then speed it up. Then once you master the form and speed, then guess what you get to do? Add a little bit of weight, and then do it all over again. Start from scratch with that weight and do it again, add speed, then add weight.
Yeah, I feel as long as we're thinking about it, I'm like, I think exercise, I don't even know what category I would put it in, but I feel like in most areas in people's lives, they really analyze the situation and then they take baby steps to get there.
Yeah.
And then with exercise, it's how much weight can I put on the bar? How fast can I go?
0 to 100 real fast.
And like running, for example, people are always blown away when I talk about this, that running is a very biomechanical exercise. I mean, it's extremely, you want to talk about having good form. It's just not that you don't have a barbell. That's why the injuries don't show up as quick. But there's something like 30 million people run 3 days a week or more in the USA. 80% of those 30 million experience one injury or more per year from running. And it's because people are typically out of shape. They go get some old tennis shoes. They put them on, and with no consciousness of form, they go run as far and as fast as they can to complete exhaustion. Doesn't sound good in any scenario.
Not at all.
So here's what we're going to do is Matt's going to lead into some stuff, and we're going to give you 3 different examples, all right? Now, stimulus can also be based on the workout length. So he's going to go over 3 different workouts of Fran, which you guys have done and are going to do, and then death row, which you guys love. We're going to make something out of that. We're going to have like its own death row leaderboard or something. You guys love that workout. And a mile run. So we have 3 different workouts, 3 different lengths. And then Matt's going to talk about just how we would want to attack those to make sure we meet the stimulus.
Yep. So let's start with Fran. Fran is 21:15.9 of thrusters and pull-ups. RX is 95 for guys, 65 for ladies. Fran for, top athletes. And a lot of times whenever you come to these classes, you might have somebody finish these workouts in like 2 to 3 minutes because it is a sprint and they're just beastly. And then majority of the people in the class will probably finish the workout anywhere between that 7-8 minute mark. I believe last time we did Fran, the time cap for the workout was like 12 minutes. And our goal whenever we go over Fran and we discuss a lot of this stuff at the whiteboard whenever we're talking is like, this is how many reps you should do with your barbell. You should be able to do this, 7 to 9 reps with your barbell at whatever weight you pick, 7 to 9 reps before you even have to sit it down. Then you move on to the pull-ups. Same thing with your pull-ups, 7 to 9 reps, breaking it only 2 or 3 times, and majority of you guys will finish under the time cap. Our goal whenever we say all that is I don't want anyone to ever be like, oh, but I can do that weight, but I'm going to time cap. That's not the intention we have. And it goes back to my story with Isabel. I finished Isabel, but it took me 26 and a half minutes. Did it help me in any sort of way? Probably not. So when we go over stimuluses and like with Fran, we want you to finish under that time cap. And I don't want anyone to time cap throughout the day. Like if I look at a class, I know I did a really, really good job as a coach if no one time capped. Or if in the middle of the workout, I didn't have to scale somebody in the middle of the workout. Because for me, I feel accomplished if I never see anybody take weight off their bar. So that's how I approach Fran whenever I teach.
Yeah, and exactly what he's saying. Like, if we can get through a workout without anybody getting time capped, it's not like if you get time capped, you're doing bad. But, we used to have a sign on our front door that said, check your ego here. And even though we don't have that sign anymore, like that's still kind of like the idea. Do you want intensity or an intense experience? And you don't really want to do the workout as prescribed with loading and gymnastics until you can meet that. And just to touch on what Matt said about like if somebody gets time capped, our job as coaches is to put you in the right position. And we have new people start all the time. every day. Or at least our goal is to have new people starting every day. But I mean, like, there are coaches. Matt's going to train these coaches, and he's been doing a great job so far that, like, dude, if it's somebody's first day and the workout is muscle ups and snatches, looks like they're doing box step ups and push press today. Yep. Like, it's more about the stimulus of the workout. The exercises are tools. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And so no matter what, even if you're next to someone, if I was next to Mitchell decided, he's going to RX Fran today. And, maybe I'm not feeling 100% and I was like, I'm just not feeling good today. And I dropped down to 75 pounds on my thruster, and maybe instead of pull-ups, I'm doing ring rows, right? The experience that me and Mitchell have when we leave here is we're like, man, that was a good workout. And when you scale appropriately, that should be what happens, is like you can look over and be like, wow, they're doing this and I'm doing this, but we finished at the same time. As a coach, if I see that, I'm like, yes, I did it. I did it right. I'd scaled correctly, and I made sure I communicated that to everybody in the class.
Yeah, because the flip side of that is like, Matt said, we're trying to get done in like 12 minutes. And if we're not listening to the workout objectives and I'm in the middle of the workout, changing from pull-ups to ring rows and taking weight off my bar, and what am I doing? I'm having an intense experience.
Yeah, you went a little too hard and probably didn't listen when we were going over the brief. And I think that's a thing that everybody could do better, is really pay attention to everything that's going on at the whiteboard. If we're saying, hey guys, listen up, and we're looking at the whiteboard, reading something off the whiteboard, there's a reason for that. And I want everyone to take something away from whenever we are talking. I'm not just talking to talk. I'm talking to help you guys.
Even though he has a really good voice.
On a podcast, I do.
My wife's watching this podcast right now.
I'm pretty sure she's videoing everything. I'm going to go on Instagram and be like, you are tagged in a video.
Everybody thinks we have this massive StrongSide compound. Yeah.
I wish one day we're taking over the world.
So we have a shorter workout, or intended shorter workout, like Fran. Mm-hmm. And then we have death row. Yep. So just to touch on death row, I know we've done this a couple of times. It's basically a 20-minute workout where you row a certain amount of calories on 1 minute, and then you do a certain amount of burpees on the next minute. We've never had anybody complete it as prescribed.
Yeah.
We've had some people get really stinking close, and I don't want to change the numbers because I feel like people are getting closer and closer to being able to do it.
It will happen.
But so that's what it is. It's 20 minutes long, way longer than the workout he just talked about. It's rowing and burpees. Yep. What would be successful in workout stimulus versus not?
So with this workout, it's an EMOM, if I'm right. Minute 1, you're rowing, I believe.
In minute 2, you're doing
in
burpees.
Minute 2, you're doing burpees. So during that workout, what we usually do is, and people hate it, I absolutely think it's hilarious, is you start in the warm-up right before you do the workout, you do like a practice run. And people are like, wait, does this count? And you're like, no, I'm sorry. It doesn't. But what that does is it gives you a picture of what you're about to do and a goal in mind of what to hit. So then when you get into this workout, you're like, okay, I need to be aiming for, maybe I can't do 20 in every minute, but I can hold on to like 15. Cool. Now that's your goal. That's your stimulus that you need to hit for the workout every time you step on the rower. Now, when you get to burpees, guess what? We tested the burpees before as well. Sorry, guys, those don't count towards your burpees that you're going to do in the workout. But let's say you did 12 in the warm-up. Don't try to go balls to the wall that first round and try to get 20. Just try to hold on to 12, and it's fine. We will retest these workouts, and hopefully, the next time we do it, maybe instead of 12 burpees, you're like, yeah, I could have probably did 15. And you hold on to that every time you get to the burpees. So the stimulus is kind of change because now you're not counting your time, you're counting your reps. And with workouts like these, EMOMs, what you try to do is get the same amount of reps each minute on the minute.
And we can use all these fancy words like, work capacity and blah, blah, blah. You know what's going to happen if you do that? You're going to get in better shape.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. Like you're trying to, like what Matt's saying is you're trying to, we know that you don't know. That's why we're coaches and we're here to like work with you. So we're not doing a practice round because we enjoy it.
We're not hazing you guys.
Yeah. We know that this workout is really challenging. So challenging that hundreds of people have tried multiple times and nobody's been able to do it as prescribed and is getting closer. We know that it would probably be good to do a practice lap so you're not in the workout, hitting the panic button, sitting out minutes at a time, going from 20 burpees to 5 burpees to 8 burpees to water break. That's not going to help anybody. That's an intense experience. That's not intensity.
Yep. So, yeah, that's Death Row. And it's coming up in October, so get ready.
Love that workout.
And we have Fran, too. So get ready for that one as well.
It's like we think about the programming in this podcast.
It's crazy.
So the last one, let's take a mile run. Yeah. So I know that, stimulus really has to do with time frame, like a time frame and loading, but mostly time frame.
Yeah.
And that could be like a 3 rep max back squat. That's different than a 1 rep max, but don't look at it as cardio and cardio. So Death Row, that's a 20-minute workout. Yes, it's cardiovascular activity. And so is a run, that's cardiovascular activity, but what are we trying to accomplish in a 1 mile run versus Death Row?
So usually with a 1 mile run, what we try to do is like, hey guys, this needs to be accomplished in under 10 minutes. We did this actually last Monday. We did a 1 mile run. It was the very first thing we did, and that will be retested again in January. So bundle up. We're going to run a lot. And we were just asking to get whatever you could do in 10 minutes. That's what I wanted you to accomplish. Now, if you were looking at me and I remember being like, look, if you're nervous about you thinking you're going to hit the time cap, what I want you to do is run around the building. When you ran around the building, I want you to keep on running until I tell you, like, hey, you have 9 minutes. You either can give me a 100-meter run, 200-meter run, whatever you can do, and your score for that workout was how many meters you ran. Now, if you felt confident in your run, I would just said, hey, go for your run, be back in, whatever you want to do, just run that mile, come back in. And I think a lot of people did a really good job. If they ran around the building, I would call out their time, and some people would pass the building at like 8.5 minutes. I'm like, hey, go run a 200, and that's your score, is how many ever meters you get, so that next time when we retest this, you know what you did, and hopefully are getting fitter as we progress going into January.
Yeah, you had a lot of the morning classes, and then I had the afternoon classes.
Yeah.
And you had told me in the morning that nobody got time capped, so I kept preaching that in the PM, and I can say that nobody in the PM was time capped.
That's a win, and as a coach, if you know that, you're like, wow, I did a damn good job today.
Yeah, because look, we know that the majority, like our big slogan here is everyone's welcome and everyone's equal, and we know that the majority of our members cannot hustle and bustle a 1 mile run. We know that the majority of our members are not doing the workouts RX every day, much less can they do a pull-up like Fran, right? Not because they're losers or inadequate, because the stuff is very challenging. Not a lot of people have worked out for years on end. They're probably starting here for the very first time. They're probably, just regular people trying to be regular fit and all that kind of stuff. What we're trying to do is create a program that can challenge the elite, but is infinitely scalable. Yep. So it's not necessarily you have to run a mile. It's kind of like, okay, Matt's saying the stimulus is really to run really well for 8 or 9 minutes.
Yep.
And if it equals a mile, that's great. And Fran isn't necessarily like, it's 21:15:9. What if it was 22:16:10? Like, that doesn't matter. Who cares if it's pull-ups? Like, if you can do a ring row, you're just doing something to help you get better.
Yeah.
So the objective there, and Matt can touch on this too, is the objective is scaling allows us to broaden things out. That's what that term means. And it allows us to scale out. It's not up or down because nobody's, any different. Our needs vary in degree and not kind. And it allows us to get a whole bunch of people in a room and say, look, I know it looks like sexy power snatches and toe to bar today, but really we're trying to do this, and this.
Yeah. So what is scaling is where this is leading to. And when I send out those lesson plans, in that lesson plan literally talks about how to scale the workout. So who
gets the lesson plans?
All of the coaches, you do, Amber, Ashley, they get all of it. And they can literally, if you come up to anybody that's on the team, they can tell you you can't do a pull-up, it's okay. We can scale it to ring rows. And there's different ways you can scale. Like it's not just scaling the movements. We can scale the movement altogether. Like you can completely do, instead of pull-ups, you can do ring rows, you can do box or jumping pull-ups, some sort of different movement. We can even change it if you have an injury. Like that's still scaling. We're scaling the workout for you. We can scale the workout with reps. Maybe instead of 21, 15, 9, maybe you can do pull-ups, but maybe 21 pull-ups is a little too much for you to do, and you can string some of them together, but not that much. We can scale those as well. And so maybe instead of 21, 15, 9 of pull-ups, you're doing like 15, 12, 6, or whatever rep scheme we come up of, something that you can do that you can hold on for 7 to 9 reps. And loading, just going back to Fran, like again, we're trying to keep it at 7 to 9 reps, unbroken without you putting down that barbell. So maybe instead of 95 pounds, which is RX for guys, I'm like, you can do 95 pounds, but you can only do it once. Maybe we go down to 65 pounds, and there's nothing wrong with scaling. And I want everyone to take something away from this podcast, and it's that there is nothing wrong with scaling. I still scale. Mitchell still scales. Kim still scales. Kim's still sitting here, by the way. Everyone scales, and there's nothing wrong with it. It should be celebrated when you RX your very first workout. That should be something you celebrate. It should be something you're proud of.
Yeah, because it's definitely earned, not given. We're not trying to downplay the RX either. We're trying to say, like, it's freaking hard to do it, and we want to be able to train you to be able to do it, but we also want to do it in a smart way.
Yeah, something that's safe, and you're moving efficiently, moving well, and having fun doing it.
Yeah, like, I mean, you shouldn't be, like, definitely, I get, like, now I'm just thinking, like, you don't want to take away from the I guess, glory of going RX where it's like it's not important. It is very important. It's just that most people are scaling.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure you scale appropriately, and you want to make sure you scale to get the job done, the actual stimulus.
The experience, like I said, the experience of even like an RX athlete or like a scaling athlete for the day should be the same. Like leaving Fran, I should be like, wow, that was hard. And even if I scaled the workout, I should still be leaving the workout and being like, wow, that was hard. And even RX athletes, I can scale up. There's a such thing as scaling up or going a little bit harder. Like for some people, I did it with Nate one day, and I was just like, hey, Nate, we're going to do some handstand push-ups today. I want you going strict, no kipping. So, but he finished that workout with the class because usually he's a really good athlete. So I wanted to make the workout a little bit harder for him, and guess what? He finished with the majority of the class.
Boom. So the nuts and bolts here are that, you know, like I said, Matt's head coach for a reason. And that reason is and not that anybody's doubting why we'd be head coach, but it's explaining that what we do here is way more than just exercise classes. And there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes. And his job is to train all of our coaches up so the same product is delivered from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. That product just happens to be a workout class. But that workout class, for you to actually get the benefit, to actually see results, needs to be done in a certain way. Like, I'm just going to use Orange Theory as an example. Their stimulus is heart rate training. Okay, that's fine. But when you go to a class there, you have to do that workout in that heart rate zone because that's what they're trying to do. Now, our skew of functional fitness and what we choose to do, we feel like doing multi-joint exercise is a little bit more valuable, but we don't have a definitive measure like that. Like stay at 150 beats per minute. For us, that's not that valuable because it's not going to help you tie your shoes when you're 70 and be more flexible and pick the dog food up and stuff. So we have to look at our workouts and we have to say they're done with intention. We should probably test them out. We should probably have session plans. We should probably communicate with our members and our athletes how these things need to be done so they can have intensity, not an intense experience, because intensity reaches your goal. So Matt, check this out. If I was to come to a class, how would I be told what the stimulus is?
So when we are at the whiteboard or talking about the workout, when I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to go over the workout. We're like, we give you a goal. That goal is like, let's just throw Fran out there again. Fran, 2159 thrusters and pull-ups. Your goal is to be done. The time cap's 12 minutes, whatever it is. I'm going to say, hey, You know, we're going to have some stud athletes that might finish this workout in maybe 2 to 3 minutes. But majority of the class, you're going to finish within, you know, that 7-8 minute range. Now, that's where you'll kind of find the stimulus. That's where you'll find when we break down the workout, we're like, you should be able to do 7 to 9 reps of each of these movements. And when I say that, I mean 7 to 9 reps unbroken. That means not coming off the bar for pull-ups or ring rows, not putting down the bar for the thrusters, and whatever weight you pick, you should be able to do 7 to 9 reps. Some athletes can do all of Fran unbroken, never putting down that bar during thrusters or never coming off the pull-up bar. And those are going to be the people that finish in that, you know, that 2 to 3 minute range. But majority of you guys, me included, is going to be in that 7 to 8 minute range.
So before every workout, before every session, no matter who the coach is, they're going to brief the workout.
Yep.
And then they're going to go over the stimulus with me. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Every class. You're literally, that's what's going on at the whiteboard.
Because I was pretty sure that's just where I gather to talk to my friends.
Yeah, I wish. No, there's stuff that goes on. I know some people like, and it's great. You're here for your friends, but just for not even 5 minutes. It's like 3. Like 3 minutes. I just need people to pay attention.
Very valuable.
Very valuable.
Yeah. So look, every class, every coach, every session, that's what we're talking about, is not necessarily just what the weight is or just what the workout is. It's almost like an art. It's how to perform it, because your body's going to need variance. The more variance you have, the different stimuluses you have, the faster the adaptation. And that adaptation is losing fat and gaining muscle and getting everything you want. But it can't just live in the same stimulus all the day or all the time. Like, you know, really heavy, but it's as prescribed, but I'm going very slow. That is the same stimulus every single day. It will adapt to that, and it will not progress. It needs to be faster and slower and heavier and lighter and running and jumping and throwing. It needs constant variation to see results.
And if you guys want to really know how much like we care about this, like we look at the whiteboard every day, and I can tell if we scaled people accordingly. Like if I have so-and-so finishing, like, let's go to Fran again. I will always reference Fran. If I have someone finishing Fran at 15 minutes and then I have someone finishing Fran in 30 minutes, we did something way wrong. Like really, really, really wrong. And we need to fix something.
So look, I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The main takeaway, like I said here, is just understand the thought and the work that goes into it. We will brief and go over everything with you in class and in a session to make sure that you are purely set up for success. But that's what scaling is. And scaling is allowing us to broaden out and get a whole bunch of people in class that have been here 5 minutes or 5 years and have a really good workout.
Facts.
Boom.
Boom.
So I hope you guys tune into the next one. Let's rock and roll.
Bye.